fallen by 15% in 2024 compared to 2023. According to the numbers shared by Education Ministry, Canada, once a favorite destination for higher education, has registered a significant 41% decline in the number of students from India in 2024. Meanwhile, Indians pursuing studies in Russia have increased by 34% in 2024 compared to 23. In 24, the number of students studying in Canada was 1,37,608, a drop of about 95,924 or 41% from 2,33,532 Indian students that were studying in 2023 in the country. Remember, Canada had tightened student visa regulations in 24, leading to increased visa rejections and cancellation of study permits in the country. Well, the numbers of those students headed to the US, UK and Canada has come down. Those studying in countries like Russia, France and Germany, on the other hand, has gone up. Aditya Vadhavan is joining us for more on this story. Aditya, take us through the statistics of the Indian students studying abroad. The figure has seen a decline.
This seems to be the very the protectionist norms of the US government. They have been deporting Indians and some visas, getting the visas for H1B visa, be it green card. It is becoming difficult. Recently what we saw, Canada also tightened the rules for Indian students to get the visa. So because of not so very good diplomatic relations between India and China in the recent past, now when since Justin Trudeau's term is over and the new Canadian PM is set to take over, it seems that these things will will see a reversal as far as Indian students enrolling in Canada is concerned. Because let us just remind the viewers that Indian students constitute a large number of the Indians who are present in Canada, and if we talk about Indian students studying in foreign countries, this trend is is very changeable. It is very dynamic. It changes one moment, it goes down the one moment. One moment over some period, the number of Indian students in abroad countries goes up and then it comes down. So it is not it is a very non-static phenomenon if we talk about these statistics that you've just mentioned. So this keeps on dwindling, as somebody sometime up, sometime down. So this is a very non-static factor which needs to be taken into account. Yes, to that.
All right. Madhav Nalapath, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is also joining us now on the broadcast. Professor Nalapath, how do you react to these statistics, these numbers going down, particularly in Canada?
Well, I'm not surprised about Canada, because Canada has sharply tightened visa restrictions on students, and this has also affected Indian students. Frankly, Canadians have shot themselves in the foot. Their universities are suffering financial hardship because of that. As far as the US is concerned, there is an effort to weed out students who are not pro-Hamas. And you remember that during the Hamas attack in Israel, and immediately after that, there were a large number of investors in Columbia and many other top universities, and they were all supporters of Hamas. Now, a lot of Indian students also, for some reason, surprisingly, were in that list. Now the Americans are using artificial intelligence to identify students who are, quote-unquote, pro-Hamas and revoke their student visas. So that's one issue. And of course, the main thing is, as far as Russia is funding, you have a rupee-ruble exchange situation. The rupee is freely exchangeable in Russia, and that is very helpful to Indian parents. Now, how everything else, there is the point that 2003, the RBI relaxed restrictions and in effect made Indian students abroad penalized, so that they, but unfortunately, many of them, most of them, of course, used it properly. Some of them used it as a loophole for their parents and others to repatriate vast sums of money to them. And they built up a lot of stockpiles of foreign assets as a consequence. 2005, that the budget has been to the tightening of the restrictions So this NRI rule, I think rather, the bona fide students for one thing, and students who are basically using it for, for plain money laundering. That's quite another. So that has been a factor also, if I may say so. So overall, the fact is, the rupee ruble situation makes it very easy for Indian students to study in Russia. But as correctly pointed out by us, it's a dynamic. I think it was to the understand the laws. I mean, the government and the law that their visa rules are having Indian students who are giving Canada such a big source of foreign exchange. And as far as US is concerned, well, I think that students are going to come to their senses, and at least those who are seeking admission in the US, they're going to be careful not to support groups like Hamas, because were they to do so, their student visas are likely to be revoked. So I think separation, and it will be reversed once in India also the visa. The NRI.
Yes. Okay, point taken, Professor Nalapa. Thank you very much for joining us with your perspective on that story. At least one person has been killed, meanwhile, and 3 others injured as